nation's favourite antiques experts.
Yes, a good weight.
And it smells.
Oh, steady, behind the wheel of a classic car.
Good morning, my lady.
Good morning, Parker.
And a goal to scour Britain for antiques. Whoopsie.
Come on.
The aim to make the biggest profit at auction. But it's no mean feat. There'll be worthy winners.
And valiant losers.
Will it be the high road to glory?
It's about winning.
Or the low road to disaster? Pop, pop. This is the Antiques Road Trip. Dig that. Good morning. It's the start of a brand new journey. And road trip favourites Charles Hanson and Christina Trevanian are back on the road for a second time.
I think we're quite good together. No, I do, seriously. I think we're good together.
Right.
Do you agree?
Oh,
Because, you know, we share similar birth dates.
Yeah,
We've
we
had
do.
similar career paths.
We have.
You know, I think you or me in a female body.
What?
The mind boggles.
If I was a female, I'd be you.
You've got better legs.
Thank you. Well, thank you.
Don't let the niceties fool you, Charles. Christina has unfinished business.
It was my very, very first road trip.
It was your debut.
And you were the one that was supposed to be looking after
I
me.
know.
And you were so sweet, you let me win.
That's not quite how it happened.
2-2.
Best of luck.
May the best lady or gent win, okay? You want?
Hey, 6 years ago, they had a close-fought trip.
Sold.
Brilliant, thank you very much, sir.
But eventually, Charles came out on top.
But I did win. No, it doesn't matter. It's not about
It
winning.
does matter, yes,
The
it
road
is.
trip is about taking part.
That's
And
absolute
having fun.
bunkum.
No, it's true, but I like to win and you lost.
Okay, so now I've got an opportunity to redeem myself.
Well, seeing how you've come on, Christina, I'm nervous for the right reasons.
Making up the team is this little Italian beauty, a 1969 Fiat Spider.
Do you like the car?
I love the car. I'm not entirely keen on the driver at the
Have you
moment.
noticed I'm on the left-hand side?
Yes, I have.
So I sit nearer the hedge, okay?
But I seem to be constantly on that side of the road when we should be on this side of the road.
This car was originally built for the American market, but in these parts, it's fondly known as a left hooker. And with £200 each to spend, Christina and Charles certainly won't be pulling any punches on this trip.
Have you had that waistcoat since the last time we worked together?
No, this waistcoat, Christine, is new. It's a take.
it?
This is a take on an 18th century waistcoat from circa 1770.
Right.
It's flowery, it's dandy.
Yeah.
I'll be wearing this in the 18th
It's
century.
very Charles Hanson.
Thank you very much.
Very Charles Hanson.
They are on a coast-to-coast odyssey that will see them wind their way south through the counties of Lancashire, Cumbria and Cheshire. After a quick forage into Wales and a jaunt through the Midlands, they'll end up at their final auction in the fine city of Newcastle upon Tyne. The first leg of our trip will end up at auction in Sheffield. But our journey begins in Morecambe, lovely, with the prawns. What do you think of it so far?
Oh, it's lovely to be beside the sea. Oh, yes.
Oh, I do like to be beside the sea.
And this, Christina, is where it all starts.
This is where the winning begins.
Today's first shop is Tyson's Antiques, and it's packed to the rafters with goodies. It's by invitation only, as they usually sell to the trade only. Just as well our experts have both got invites, because it's a joint visit. Watch out.
Through the blue door. Alrighty, Chaz.
Oh, my God, Christina, it is huge. I'm going upstairs.
Right,
See
okay,
you
well, I
later.
will start down and go up.
Okay.
Alrighty.
Bye.
Bye. I mean, this place is fantastic, but it is absolutely stuffed with very big pieces of furniture. And I'm a little bit anxious that people haven't necessarily got massive, great big houses that they can accommodate this kind of furniture. So I'm thinking, really, I want to buy small. But it is a little bit difficult when you see something like this. Now, I'm a huge fan of a tambour front. There we go, there's a new term for you, but I'm also slightly nervous of them because once I actually put these down, they are self-locking. But beautiful piece of furniture, Victorian mahogany, and for £240. It's not a lot, is it? But not many people can accommodate these into their houses anymore, sadly.
Back upstairs, what's caught Charles's eye?
If you look at this chair, it's quite unusual. Its form is quite impractical, but it captures the age of the Art Deco. Now, we always say, never buy... Oh, there's a drip. I've just been... Oh, was that a seagull? Did you see that? Literally, I've just...
Cuckoo indeed, Charles.
Maybe it's lucky. Literally, my hair's wet. All I can smell is dust. Might do that just in case it hits me again.
Dapper, eh?
And actually what you've got here is a really attractive, original, brown leather chair of the 1930s. And it's only £15. A definite mental note. I like it.
Ooh, look at those. They're quite fun, aren't they? I think they are hat stands. It's in the Art Deco period, 1920, 1930, made of oak, possibly a shop window. They would have had hats on them as an Art Deco lady would have been going past and looking at these hats on this stand. I think they're rather lovely. I wouldn't hope to spend a huge amount of money on them, but as a first purchase, just to ease me in, they could be quite fun.
But there's no price tag on them, so best find the boss.
Andrew, just the man I need. How are you doing?
What can I do for you?
I was having a look around and I found those. Do you know what you've got on them?
£40 for the two.
£30 and I'd be a happy girl.
You've worn me down already. £30. Yeah.
You're an angel. Thank you very much.
OK.
Well, that's Christina quickly off the mark with a lovely pair of Art Deco hat stands for £30.
Enjoy.
She's not hanging about today, though. How's Charles getting on back inside?
That's quite a sweet table. This is Edwardian, and this style of swagged, ribbon-tied enamelling on satin wood is typical of 1905, 1910, on these gorgeous, what we call tapered, splayed legs tapering in. And this manner of decoration here is called a bellflower. But it's elegant, and satin wood is a very expensive and exotic timber, and £60 isn't a lot of money. Mental note.
Noted. But onwards and upwards.
It's quite good. If ever you get into furniture, it's quite good for weightlifting. I mean, you almost literally feel. I mean, look. Oh,
When I said upwards, Charles,
blimey. Got to be careful. But literally.
oh dear.
Sometimes my wife will say, Charles, go to the gym, get fit. But sometimes, 1, 2, 3,
Put it down before you do yourself an injury.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, it's not a bad way to get fit. This has got one gate. Open it up like so. And then, look at that. It's a beautiful mahogany tea table. What makes this table more impressive, if you look at the under tier, this style of cutting in here is typically Georgian. These reeded legs tapered are also typically Georgian. I would date this tea or card table to around, a bit tired now, to around 1760. So 1760 is the date. And the problem is, it has been French polished, which is a shame. You know, this, in its original colour, in a shop in London, will be £2,500 all day long. Here, it could be yours for £120. So the temptation to spend all my budget in this first shop is very much top my priority. I love it. Andrew, can I borrow you for 1 second? I'm admiring this table, priced at £120.
Yes.
I like over there that satin wood table.
Yes, very nice.
Priced at 60. But if I spend 120 and 60, that's £180, and it means I've only got £20 left over. Do you play darts?
Yeah, I've got a few trophies for it.
Give me a big number in darts.
180,
180. Put it there.
170.
What's that?
Knocking your tenner off that table.
Oh, give me a... There we go. Done. Thank you so much. So 20, 40.
That's 2 fine tables purchased by Charles.
It's a bit wet.
It's wet. What do you mean it's wet?
You just printed it.
No, I think it might have been that seagull again.
You could be.
Though spending 170 of his £200 budget in the very first shop is a brave gamble. I'm sure he knows what he's doing. Well, I'm not, actually, if I'm honest. Meanwhile, Christina has made her way north to Kendal in Cumbria. She's visiting the magnificent Levens Hall, home of the world's oldest topiary garden. Chris Crowder is the head gardener.
Tell me, what is topiary? Because this is the most magnificent place.
You can see what topiary is. It's clipping trees into these sculptural shapes, unusual shapes, forms.
Yeah. And when and where did it come from?
First records back to Roman times, maybe before that as well. That's a couple of thousand years ago now.
Yeah.
The word topiary, it's a Latin word actually, going back to Roman times. It was Topiarius was the name of the Roman gardener.
Oh, really?
And he was a garden slave. He wasn't just a gardener that did the garden and got paid for it. And this is what the Topiarius would have been compelled to do for his master, clip those trees and shrubs into strange and wonderful shapes.
Centuries later, topiary became de rigueur across France after the famous garden designer André Le Nôtre incorporated the style into Louis XIV's redesigned Versailles Gardens. The penchant for topiary was firmly established on these shores after William of Orange acceded to the crown of England and Scotland.
William of Orange arrived and brought with him an enthusiasm for gardening, and the court followed suit. He was the new king and everybody wanted to join in. The Dutch style, as it became known, was a more extravagant use of topiary. But everybody that was anybody and had some money and wealth to show off would have been putting a topiary garden in at that time.
Unfortunately, by the mid-18th century, the trend for topiary gardens was on the wane.
Chris, why don't we see more gardens like Levens?
Within about 30 years, fashions had changed. It's a bit like clothing fashions. Once everybody has them, then they didn't want them anymore. They wanted the next big thing. And in the UK, that was lakes and trees and natural landscape.
Yeah.
So these were ripped out everywhere. They ripped them out, they burnt them, and it made way for the sheep and the cows, the landscape right up to the house.
Thankfully, the topiary garden at Levens Hall managed to survive this new style of landscape gardening.
I find it so difficult that you say that it was such a short-lived fashion because it takes such a long time to develop it. I mean, this is not a garden that you can have just instantly, is it? This has taken years and years and years of careful looking after and development to create this wonderful landscape.
And this tree we sat underneath is over 300 years old. And we know every gardener in that sequence till I'm number 10. And I'll be passing this on in the fullness of time to the next person.
Brilliant.
And it's living history.
Yeah.
Bravo to that.
I've got a confession to make. I planted in my garden last year a box hedge, and at the time it seemed like a really good idea. But now I haven't got a clue what to do with it.
Have you not got inspiration after looking around here?
Yeah, I have, but I don't think it's going to turn into a peacock overnight. Can you give me a few tips?
We can have a go. There's 1 or 2 left to clip.
Oh, magic. Excellent.
Now this I have to see. Chip off the old block, eh?
This is yew, isn't it?
This is yew, and yew and box, the traditional pieces.
Why?
Because they're evergreen, so you've got the garden form in the winter, but also because naturally yew and box are growing the understory of a woodland, and they're quite happy growing in shade, and that's important because they grow in their own shade.
How am I getting on?
Well, that's quite good. Not bad for a beginner, but yeah, you need to do a bit more practice, preferably in your own garden rather than mine. That's what I'd say. Not
Are
too
you
bad.
evicting me from your garden?
Thank you and goodbye.
Oh, I think you did very well, Christina.
Bye-bye.
Meanwhile, someone's having a touch of buyer's remorse.
Sometimes you take a gamble and to buy two classic antiques, proper antiques. The only regret I've got is if I go to another shop and I see something worth £1 million, which is priced at 50, and I can't afford it. That's my concern. Otherwise, I'm quite happy.
After that earlier splurge, Charles has a rather modest £30 left to spend, and he's heading to the divine market town of Kirby Lonsdale. It's where Dale's antiques and interiors can be found.
Good afternoon.
How are you? Your name is?
I'm Leonard.
And who's
nice
this-
to meet you, Charles.
Who's this here, Leonard?
This is Doris.
Hello, Doris.
It's a gorgeous shop. What's the average value of an object in your shop, would you say?
Probably around 300 to 400.
Remember, dear viewer, Charles has just £30.
Add a few noughts or take a few noughts off. We'll see how I get on. Thanks. Quite like that. It's full of Eastern promise, perhaps. And down here, there's this gorgeous stall, which actually, on first impressions, looks like a crewel work. It's actually a wool work with a Victorian top. But actually, just looking at the bobbin turnings here, this type of disc bobbin turning, you can see the original wooden joints. And the doweling. And what's amazing is, judging from, again, the stretchers, this, Leonard, must be quite early.
1680s, 1700s.
It's not.
It is, yes.
Oh, it's amazing. But when you can sit on the stall and you can just imagine that someone sat on the stall in 1680, 25 years or so after the Great Fire of London, it speaks history.
Exactly.
And it's amazing. And it could be yours for how much? Have a guess.
Ticket price is £950. It could be yours for £850.
Yeah. But sadly, my budget won't quite go that far.
That's the understatement of the year. Leaving a great shop empty-handed can't be easy, but you were too easily tempted this morning. A bit of quiet reflection, maybe.
OK, give me that face.
Right, just
I'm just
shush.
trying...
Shush.
OK, sorry.
You know, we talked about quiet time. I think we should have some just quiet time, OK?
Quiet time indeed. Nighty-night. Hey, wipers on. The heavens have opened this morning. Dear oh dear, with the rain coming down, the roof of the car is up.
We are currently going through a storm.
I don't really understand why you're wearing the hat.
Because actually, it's a bit drippy above the rooftop here.
Right, OK, so it's basically for not getting wet.
Exactly, exactly. You might call me a drip, Christina, but this helps.
Charles most definitely splashed some cash yesterday.
What was a drip? It's just been... was that a seagull?
He spent £170 on an Edwardian occasional table and a mahogany tea table,
You know, it's not a bad way to get fit.
leaving him a meagre £30 to spend today. A more conservative Christina bought just a pair of Art Deco hat stands.
They could be quite fun.
Her more frugal approach means she's still got a whopping £170 in her pocket. And a little wet weather isn't going to dampen her spirits, oh no.
For me, on a rainy day, there is nothing better than what's in the back of this car.
There's a tin.
Yeah.
What's in the tin? Can I open it up?
Yeah, just be careful.
Sorry.
Open the lid and give it a smell. Good smell.
You know what? Oh, I say. Oh, darling, my favourite. Now, I'm thinking it's banana cake.
It is.
Where'd you buy it from?
I didn't buy it.
sorry.
I made it. How
Sorry.
rude.
What a life. You and me.
And cake.
Okay. It gets better and better.
Who says you can't have your cake and eat it, eh? After dropping Charles off, Christina has made her way to the town of Longridge, home of the rather charming Berry Antiques and Interiors. Oh, lovely.
That early farm sign. Looks like it's got some quite serious age to it. It's obviously been weathering outside somebody's farm somewhere. For me personally, there is something really special about heavy horses such as this. I mean, look at him. He's a Shire or a Suffolk Punch or somebody, a really big breed of horse, and it just evokes a time in farming when it wasn't so machine dominated as it is now. This would have been hanging outside somebody's farm. It's clearly been made out of a sheet of metal, and they've cut this wonderful silhouette out. It's very thin, but it isn't actually a thin gauge. It's a good sturdy thing. I would imagine it's probably been made in the local forge. The local blacksmiths made it for them. £38. It's probably not going to race away, but it might go at a bit of a steady trot.
Why don't you take a quick canter over to the dealer?
Hi, Kerry.
Hi,
now,
Christina.
I found this under a table. Where's it come from, do you know?
I don't. I mean, there was a lot of farming around here.
I'd also like to buy some silver.
OK.
But my eyes are drawn to these bottles here, which are fantastic, aren't they?
They are. I think they've come out of a travelling case. And I think for the size of them, they're probably male, from male travelling case as
Do you
opposed
think?
to a lady.
Whoever had this was clearly quite an affluent person because they had their initials put on the top as well.
Yes, they did.
It was a
Yes.
commission, wasn't it?
It was a commission.
£38 each. Gosh, that's £76, isn't it? Ooh. So, Kerry, what can we do price-wise for my Ned here and bottles?
The pair of bottles, we can do £30 each, which would be 60, and we'll do 25 on the sign.
60, 70, £85.
For the
85. I think that's an incredibly fair price, and I'm very, very happy with that.
Thank you.
So thank you very much, Kerry.
Thank you,
That's brilliant.
She doesn't mess about, does our Christina? And after buying those lovely items, she's still got £85 left to spend.
Cheerio.
Meanwhile, Charles has made his way to Blackpool. He's visiting the famous Pleasure Beach to find out about one of its oldest attractions. It's off-season, so at least there'll be no queuing for Charles today. Alex Payne is the Pleasure Beach's technical director.
Good to see you.
How are you?
What an amazing place.
And a beautiful day.
I love it.
Shall we go and have a see?
Can't wait. So, when did Blackpool Pleasure Beach come into existence?
It was founded by William George Bean in 1896, and it's in the same family ever since.
So, what was his inspiration? How did he come up with the idea?
He was inspired by amusement parks at a place like Coney Island in America and wanted to come back and found a similar place to make adults feel like children again.
You're in the right place here then, Mr. Hanson.
I can only imagine that this was all sand before 1896.
It was Blackpool Beach.
The Pleasure Beach was certainly a hit when it first opened. But it really started to take off in 1904 with the construction of a new attraction, the Maxim Captive Flying Machine. The ride was named after its designer, Sir Hiram Maxim. Sir Hiram, a prolific inventor, was most famous for creating the first automatic portable machine gun for the British Army, a feat which earned him a knighthood. Sir Hiram later turned his attention to trying to invent the world's first flying machine, and in order to raise much-needed funds for that project, he developed and sold his own fairground attractions.
It was a monumental ride, wasn't it? People were...
It was a phenomenon.
It must have been just a sight to behold, almost have aliens landed. What's going on?
Well, it's the first time you get to experience flying, and people still love it today.
Well, you've sold it to me, chaps. Can we take a peek?
So here we have the flying machines.
This is it.
This is it.
1904.
1904.
Still standing proud.
Still standing, still working.
Goodness me.
If you think it looks quite impressive from up top,
It's a sight.
we're going to see what it's like underneath.
Really?
It's magnificent.
Inner workings down below. So Alex, tell me, how does this machinery down here below equate to what I've seen above in those flying machines?
It's quite straightforward, really. You've got a series of drive motors, you've got reduction systems and gears and pulleys. It's basically all designed to turn that big column behind me. That's the column that you see going up through the centre, and then all the spokes come out, but then have the ropes and the rockets down at the bottom.
So I'm quite a simple man, Alex. You know, physics not my best subject. So how did these flying machines take off and impress the public?
OK, as we start to rotate the column and we increase the RPMs of the column,
Yes.
then the centrifugal force, effectively, is acting to push the rockets out.
And it was awe-inspiring for the public. Why?
Because this ride opened here at Pleasure Beach in 1904. So people didn't know what flight felt like. They'd never been able to get on an aeroplane. So this was the nearest opportunity they could have to experience flight.
Was this the first one he built?
No, he'd built previous ones. There was one at Earl's Court. This is one of the slightly later ones, but this is the only one that's still in existence and still in operation.
No, it's the Earl's Court one has gone, but Blackpool is still standing.
Blackpool's still here.
Alex, it's been really interesting. Thanks ever so much.
Pleasure.
Come on.
And it's been thrilling millions of Pleasure Beach punters for over 110 years. And now it's your turn, Charles.
Well, here we go. 115 years ago, this flying machine was built by Maxime. It'd be rude not to give it a go. I like to be in control. Maxim, look after me.
Hold tight, Hanson.
It's a bit quick. Gross. It's a bit windy up here. It's a bit scary.
Scaredy cat. Don't worry, Charles. It'll soon be over. Meanwhile, back on terra firma, Christina is making the short hop into Preston.
I don't think I've shopped around here before, so it's going to be a new experience. It should be fun, hopefully.
That's the spirit, Christina. Your last port of call is the Victorian Specialists, European Fine Arts and Antiques.
I like these very much. Now these are police truncheons, believe it or not. This one, obviously VR, this is a Victorian example. And that is, I mean, that could do some serious damage. That is incredibly heavy. This, I think, is a fairly standard example because obviously it's quite crudely painted. But this one, obviously Special Constabulary, 1914 to 1919, I think this would have been probably more of a presentation piece. I mean, the fact that it's done in gilt rather than obviously just in colours means it was a really special piece. And actually, a complete one-off because it was to Bruce Mackay. There is a strong collector's market for people who collect painted truncheons. But it'd be really interesting to find out any more about Bruce and what his service record was, because obviously this is also First World War period.
Rightio then. Let's see if Dealer Brian knows anything.
Don't worry, I sorted him out, Brian.
Okay.
You're safe.
All right, right, good.
Brian, tell me about these. This one is clearly Victorian.
Yes.
The VR.
Yes.
It's a bit of a giveaway.
Yeah, you should have been a detective.
You don't win the Krypton factor for that, Christine.
Okay.
He's got you, Sasko.
I think this was used. I think this was a...
Oh, I'm sure.
And you wouldn't want to get on the wrong side of that,
I
would
wouldn't
you?
have thought so, no. Because don't forget, in the old days, you know, they used to tap the curb, and the other officers knew when they heard that tapping in the middle of the night, assistance was needed.
Come on quickly.
Yeah.
But then this one...
A special constable, yeah.
Do we know who Brucey Boy was?
No, we don't know who Bruce Mackay is, but I would think to get something like that, he must have done something pretty special.
Yeah. They've got no price on them.
I was looking for like 80 quid.
For the two?
Yes.
God, Brian, you're an angel. I've got left...
Okay.
20, 40,
Yes.
60,
Okay.
£80.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes.
You are a gentleman.
Well, that's a fair cop. 2 truncheons, one for £70 and the other for 10.
But don't use them on anyone, will you?
Well, I'll try. Yeah.
Charles will be relieved. Talk of the devil, he's made his way to Lytham St Anne's. It's where Verdi Antiques, a veritable treasure trove of booty, can be found. But he's on the clock. Run, Charles, run! It's nearly closing time.
At the moment, I've only got 2 things. I really need 2 or 3 good finds here. I want to go to the still city feeling like I'm a man strong.
Arrgh. What's Mr. Muscle uncovered?
Lovely clock with its geometric pediment and its little panels of rectangles and squares is so evocative of the 1930s. It's so geometric. If you think of the great skyscrapers coming up in that jazz age in the interwar years, it's only £30.
How much?
It's only £30, and I've only got...
£30?
It's quite nice. It's that lovely. You know, sometimes I think being driven by Christina, I almost need this attached to my window so I can alert the cars to her if Christina's driving. And this must be probably the 1920s, so it is a car horn as well, you can see, where obviously it would have been attached to the side. Original leather.
Rubber.
Squeezy.
That's one way of getting the dealer's attention.
David, come over here. I like your horn.
Thank you.
How much is that priced at?
It's 38, yes.
And the best on that?
I can do that for 25 for you.
Oh, can you? And I would like to buy 2 items from here.
Right.
But I've only got £30.
Right.
So this could be one of them, OK?
You don't ask for much, do you?
What have I seen for a £5?
I saw you looking at the clock earlier, Charles, and seeing as your budget's 30...
It's priced at £30.
It is priced at 30, yes. You've spent 25.
Has it been here a while?
It has been here a while. It's been here over a year. I know it's a big drop. I would
Well,
let that go for a £5.
It's almost the size of a coffin. And if it buries me in Sheffield, c'est la vie. Great, I'll take it.
That's Charles all spent up on a car horn and an Art Deco clock.
It's quite heavy.
And with that, today's shopping is done.
What would you dine off tonight, Christina, if we do get back off this muddy, soaked road?
Steak.
A Lancashire hot pot,
Dumplings.
Christina. Exactly.
Sounds delightful. Then some shut-eye. It's auction day. Good morning from the wonderful city of Sheffield. In the 1900s, it was famous world over for its steel manufacturing. Even today, it's known as Steel City.
Look at this
I know, it's
Sheffield
been on a
auction
sunny
day.
day, and I feel
Yeah.
quite steely, Christina.
Steely in Sheffield.
Yeah, Sheffield plated and almost feeling that... Dun, 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 dun.
What's she doing?
If I, let's say, made props on every lot, I could do, as a celebration, the full monty, as a celebration.
Lordy.
What? Charles, don't you giving me nightmares? Don't be so ridiculous.
Christina,
no.
you're not supposed to say that.
No, stop it. Keep your clothes on.
Thanks, Christina. It's only a joke.
Never mind, Carlos. Today sees the end of our experts' travels. After starting off in Morecambe, Charles and Christina have wound their merry way south to Sheffield. Today's auction is being held here at Sheffield Auction Gallery. On this leg, Christina bought 5 lots for £195.
Now this is actually what I think is a style buy. 1910, 1920, and to equestrian lovers, I'm sure this will ride home a good return on her price of £25. I can see it, hold tight, going with the canter.
Dear, oh dear. Charles wasn't horsing around when he bought 4 lots, spending every penny of his £200.
I honestly feel that if Charles were an antique, this would be him. Absolutely would be him. Look, noisy, very noisy, a little bit tired, seen better days, but for £25, you can't go wrong, can you? Fabulous, fabulous purchase.
The man in the middle today is auctioneer John Morgan. What does he make of our experts' haul?
Special Constable, truncheon, George V period, reflecting back on the First War, dated 1919. Superb condition, original crest. It's going to fly. Well done, whoever bought it. The long case clock, it's Art Deco, it has a Westminster chime. However, it's large, it's dark wood, not really where the market is right now. I think it may struggle, though it will sell.
Today, Rob's got a full house. He's also got buyers waiting on the phone and online. Buckle up, folks. It's time for our experts to take their seats.
Here we go.
Front row seats.
First up are Christina's matching silver-topped toilet bottles.
Quality.
Absolutely beautiful quality, but £60 is a lot.
I might call you Quistina, as in Q for quality. Quistina. Quistina. Quality Quistina.
45, 50, 55, looking on 60 elsewhere.
You've done it. Well done.
No,
You've done it.
It's 55, Johnny.
At £55 anymore,
Brilliant.
three
You
more.
haven't done it, Charles.
Profit.
You've said too soon.
60 and 5 with me at £65 on the internet, be sure.
Christina comes up smelling of roses with that small profit.
Oh, well.
Anyway.
It was a good start.
Next, we've got Charles's 1920s car horn.
It really is a squeezy. Squeezy.
A squeezy. It
It's
is.
a squeezy.
You're absolutely right. It's very tactile.
One thing I can prove, it doesn't need batteries. There you go.
Thank you very much.
So
Well done.
where do you want to be? £20, thank you. 22 elsewhere. 25 already on the internet. 28, 30 and 35.
Well done, Charlie.
40 and 5. Are we all done at 40? Make no mistake, I sell.
Beep, beep, hurrah! Charles speeds off with a decent profit.
That's it, yeah.
Coming up now are Christina's pair of Art Deco hat stands.
But now, in the cold, hard light of day, I think I paid a bit too much money for them.
The commissions are in here, and they would like to pay 35, 40, 45. Now looking on 50 elsewhere.
There you go, I told
Like
you.
£45 on a maiden
sorcery
commission. Are we
is
all done? 50 on the internet and 5 with me. I'm on
They're
commission
lovely.
internet.
They
Please
really
come back
are
if you wish
nice.
to. At £55, the hammer's up.
Hats off to Christina with that tidy profit.
Oh, my goodness.
£25 profit.
Charles's mahogany tea table is next.
Should be worth 500.
It is a stunning piece.
Yes.
And you're right, it should be worth £500.
Yes.
But the reality of the situation is,
Exactly.
it's not.
Sometimes, Christina, with a love affair with antiques, you can't say no. And when you can't say no,
£100 away.
you can become unstuck.
At 55, 60, looking at 65 elsewhere.
Simply great value.
At £60, 65 new blood. At 70 on the internet and 5. At 75 in the room.
It's
and
nothing really, is
It's
it?
amazing.
No. New blood, 80 and 5. No, make no mistake, at £80 I sell.
Oh, Charles, some lucky bidder has lifted a real bargain.
That is my only love affair this week. It's now back to business.
Okay.
It's Christina's heavy horse farm sign next.
The horse lovers here, I'm sure, will gobble it up.
Do we think there are any horse lovers?
There's some country folk here, trust me.
Do you think?
I think it will go nay and ride high.
10.
Oh,
Get me started. £10 straight away on the internet. Thank you. £12 anywhere else. I have £10
oh, she's
all
bidding.
over.
She's bidding.
Crikey, 22, 25 already. 28 and 30 now, looking for 35
it's galloping,
elsewhere.
it is galloping,
35,
Charlie, it's
40, 40 I
galloping.
have now, looking on 45 elsewhere. 45 I have now, looking on 50, and 50 I have now.
Oh, slow down. It's a dead cert. It's odds on.
But at £60 the hammer's up.
Well, Christina's just galloped away with a large profit.
Well done, Dobbin.
Time for a profit with Charles's Art Deco clock.
Time is standing still.
Time knows no boundary. Time is the essence. Long live Godfather Time. And before we say going, gone, can it make more than £5?
I think it will.
Oh, yes, it can.
I think it will.
If I say 20, The internet says 20.
Fantastic.
22, thank you. I have 22 in the room. Is that a bit over here?
Really? Thank you,
25,
thank you.
28,
Let's go, tick-tock.
And 30, and 5, and 40, and 5. Thank you, and 50, madam. 55 already on the internet, and 60, no.
Come on.
I have £65 on the internet.
Come on.
This is ridiculous.
70, 75
Come on,
already,
lads,
80
keep going.
£75 I sell.
Mr. Hanson's just clocked out with a profit. Well done.
Well done.
You know?
Well done.
Time waits for no man.
Whoop, whoop. It's the sound of the police. It's Christina's special constable's truncheon.
Hello, hello, hello.
What have we got here?
What have you got here, madam? And what have you got here?
Truncheon.
I like this a lot. This is exciting, Christina.
I've got clammy hands.
Could be your get out of jail card. Quite literally.
If I say 60, the internet says 120 straight away.
You watch is going to roll this, Christina.
I have £120 on the internet. Anybody want to take
This
them on?
should roll.
We're all done at 120. Be sure.
Christina's just grabbed herself a stonking profit.
Yeah. Happy days.
Wow, happy days. Happy days.
How are you feeling?
I'm feeling... How am I feeling?
We're all done at 60. Be sure.
Feeling all right.
It's truncheon, take 2, and Christina's last item.
It has been heavily restored, like me, but a nice object. And for £10,
It's a bit bashed,
that's a
bit
bruise.
worn,
But for £10,
been around. Seen better days.
That's exactly, Christina. Exactly.
45 straight away on the internet, looking 50 elsewhere. 50, thank you. I have £50 on the front row now. 55, 60. I have £60 in the room. Well, we're all done at the 60. Be sure.
Christina's on a roll. She's just collared herself another £50.
You are sizzling.
Sizzling.
You are sizzling at £60. You are.
Last up, we've got Charles's occasional table.
I think that table is exquisite. It's so feminine, it's so delicate. It would go in any house.
And there is a huge collector's market for painted saxophone.
25 straight away on the internet, thank you. 28, madam, thank you. I have 28 in the room now.
Come on.
I have £35 in the room. 40 new blood, 45, madam? No, you sure?
Come on.
Sure, I sell at £40. Make no mistake.
That was very, very little money for an exquisite quality piece.
Well said, Christina, but it's only a £10 loss.
Right, onwards and upwards, Charles.
Time waits for no man, Christina.
Exactly, let's go.
There's no show. The full Monty is off.
Thank goodness.
Right, calculators at the ready. Charles started with £200 in his piggy. After sale and fees, he made a loss of £7.30, leaving him with £192.70 to spend on the next leg. Christina kicked off with the same amount, but after auction costs have been deducted, she made a goodly profit and will take £300.20 to spend on the road next time.
Oh, well, Charles, the sun shines on the right.
Officially declare you, Christina, the Queen of Sheffield. You were solid silver. Well done.
Thank you kindly. Well, look, come on.
Come on. The cat that got the cream.
Next time, there's fun.
Aye, aye.
Is it that? Is it that?
Oh my gosh, I love it.
And games.
They do call me Hawkeye Hansen.
Come on.
And racing.
There's a finishing line. Come on.
It's all a bit exhausting.